So I thought this week I'd take you along for, I don't know if you remember in the tour, this is the side back garden, work in progress. I'm taking this Labor Day weekend. Well, the weekend's over, it's Monday. I'm taking the time to redo this. So yesterday, from here to here, is completely inundated with lily of the valley. So I am going through and digging it all up. And I uncovered the hydrangea, which was hidden amongst the Aurelia here. I think 5-finger Aurelia is the name of this. But I just wanted to take a minute to show you how awful this shrub is. Can you see the thorns? Oh wait, there you go. The thorns on this, it's worse than a rose bush. And it is pretty prolific. What it likes to do is it grows really tall, then hangs over, and when it hangs over, it's kind of like a forsythia, and it will root in the ground. So I started here, and I've trimmed it up with my hedge trimmer. So what got me motivated to pull out all of the lily of the valley was I was gifted these lilac bushes. There's 3 of them. So I have 2 put in here right now. The 3rd is going here. But I first have to get all this lily of the valley up and out of the ground. It's been growing here obviously for a while. I think this is a black walnut volunteer here. These are lotus volunteers because our neighbor has a huge lotus tree and it likes to volunteer itself. So you have to stay diligent on pulling the babies. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, cleaning up this area and cleaning this area up next to the chicken coop. And I'm not showing you the chicken coop because it is also a work in progress. So I'm going to get to it. The way I dig up lily of the valley. There's no real easy way to do it. Definitely don't want to rototill. You want to pick a dry day because it's easier to get the dirt off the roots, which, as you can see, are quite matted. But that's what I do about 100,000 times. And trying to get all of these roots. Next thing I'm going to do is chop back this iris. It's a purple Siberian iris. And then there's a bunch of babies of redbud. That's what this is. Here's a nice mulberry weed. I think that the deer have been chomping on. And then this is that trash daylily growing in here, along with some native wildflowers. I forget the name of this one. I'll pull it up and put it in the video. But this is super pokey. I'm not I mean, I'm gonna pull it, but it's already like reseeded itself, so no big deal. This redbud is on the neighbor's property. I'm just gonna kind of neaten that up over there and finish cleaning out this area. Also, this here you might have in your garden. It's not a plant, it's a weed. It has a very deep tap root, so if you see it, try not to let it get this big and go to seed. So that's my next plan, is to get that done. For the most part, I've gotten most of the lily of the valley out of this section of garden. There's some underneath the Sun King Aurelia, but I'll worry about that in the spring. I'll just be very diligent when spring starts to come out here and take a look. There was some bungleweed that I like for ground cover, so I saved that and I'm gonna replant. So I have one more of the lilacs to put over here where the chicken is, to fill out this spot and to use up the lilacs that I was gifted. So I have to do that too. So I think I'm gonna just plant the camera here and just film what I'm doing. Project we're completing in the backyard.
Another project I got sucked into.
I needed Dante's muscle. This is an old quince. I think it's probably 30 years old or more. And I don't want it here anymore. So Dante got to digging to see what the root ball was going to look like, to see how we were going to attack it. And it was a beast. He did a lot to expose the roots and then gave up the goat, took a break, and looked for some more stuff to utilize to help remove it. Okay, we've regrouped. We have new tools to tackle.
You just need a backhoe.
Yeah, we need a backhoe, but one that will shrink and then grow back to full size, just so it can get into our backyard. I don't think they make those yet. You know, there's two of these too. There's that one, and there's one over there. Okay, Dante used the grinder to make that into a knife. Let's see if it does anything. What's that called? Pickaxe? Pickaxe. I said we just use the Sawzall, but he said we'd break it. A few hours later. It's a workout.
My lungs. Oh shit, yes.
Okay, we're moving to stage 2. Woo-wee! Death to the Quince. High five, wee. One day later, the project is completed. I got as much as the lily of the valley out of this area. Now, if you've had lily of the valley before, you know it's never gone. Once it's there, it seems to always be there. It might disappear for a year, or it might just have one little sprout here and there, but you're always going to have to surveil the area to continue to pull it when it comes up. I had some bungleweed that I transplanted here. I don't know how well it's going to take, but basically I just shove. I think these are a proven winner bloomerang lilac, but I am not 100% sure. They were gifted to me along with the little deer repellent satchels. The previous owner could not keep the deer off of the buds, and they never were blooming, so she got rid of them. I do have deer pressure here, but the dogs really help with that, so I'm hoping I can have some success with it. The rest, the lily of the valley went all the way to here. I have 2 twist and shout, the other one's over here, hydrangeas, an oak leaf hydrangea. This is the old school mop head hydrangea. Don't necessarily recommend planting. I just have it, and I have a really hard time throwing away plants. So I just threw it in back here. It did have a tiny little bloom on it. I also have some echinacea that I transplanted. That might be black-eyed Susan or echinacea. I'm not really sure 100%. There's also some daisy back here. The irises that are planted up front were from a garden society giveaway when I bought a book from them, and they gave me some irises, so I gladly took those. I have an astilbe tucked in, and this is milkweed, swamp milkweed that's in that area. This is a Wigelia I'm not really fond of, but I'm just going to keep it there for the time being. Amongst the hostas, this is a variegated lamia. I didn't do much over here other than just pull the seedlings of the trees that were growing back in here. And I have a pile of compost back there. I got rid of all the junk trees that were starting to sprout from when we chopped them down. They're all growing out from the bottom, so I'm just continuing to monitor that area. And I just cleaned up the Brunnera from the sprouts. Kind of, they sprout kind of and flower a little bit like hostas, so you just cut back those bloom stalks. I fertilized everything. I use a Spoma Hollytone, and I basically put that on all of the hydrangeas in the area. So that's the recap. And I sheared up these 5-finger Aurelia, which are just a beast of a shrub. I mean, the thorns are disgustingly sharp and dagger-like. Do not recommend. Unless you need to fortify your fence line so people don't climb into your area, you can plant that. Or you need to find something like if you wanted to plant it back there and let it all fill in and just take up space, you can do that. But just it's a bit of a beast. I personally wouldn't plant it if I had the choice. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video where I do more work on the yard or house plant maintenance, and I'd love to take you along for the ride. So come back and join me.